Welcome to The Nation. I'm ELANE Noor Abdullah. Now, as Budget 2026 approaches, one pressing issue is youth employment, with young Malaysians facing underemployment, skills gaps, and the struggle to find their place in a rapidly changing job market. Now, to discuss how policy can close that gap, I'm joined by AMMAR SYABIL bin Mohammad AZAM, Project Director of Jelajah AI MyMahir at TalentCorp. Hello and welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, doing great.
Fantastic. Now, let's talk about that job market. Now, according to the Statistics Department, Malaysia's national unemployment rate in November 2024 stood at just 3.2%. So that sounds like kind of like manageable, right? But yet youth unemployment was more than 3 times higher at 10.4%, with graduates making up a significant portion of the unemployed. Now, from TalentCorp's perspective, what are the root causes behind this persistent mismatch, even when the overall rate seems relatively low?
Okay, the way I would start this is to talk about the education system right now. When you go to higher institutions, after graduating, you want to find a job, right? So it's more on like the ROI of education. You take loans, but then when you graduate, it's hard to find a job. So this is where actually TalentCorp comes in, and to provide the market intelligence, the labor market intelligence, by establishing a council with 18 strategic sectors, industries, where we validate the data on what are the job roles that exist in the market, the in-demand roles, the in-demand skills, and alongside the impact of AI, digital and green economy that has a stronghold on the Malaysian workforce. So when we validate all this data, we match it to all the training programs that is relevant for them to reskill and upskill, so that at the very end, they will know, the general public will know what they will need to do, especially the ones who are fresh graduates. And we've done this through many projects. We go to campus engagements, we go to schools. Our school tele unit actually engaged with 600 schools with counselors to educate the students on the MyMahir initiative that gives us this labor market intelligence. So in a way, we inject them with the first-hand awareness on how to be prepared to future-proof them for the workforce in coming years.
So this is the current available skills gap, as you're mentioning, and talents or graduates or whoever is coming up into the job market can refer to this in order for them to be able to ensure that they are being able to fill those gaps. And my question, which I asked you before, is this a projected job market? Because it's changing so rapidly. Whatever that I have skills for right now may not be necessarily the skills that I need even 1 year from now. Let's not talk about 3 to 5 years from now.
Okay, so well, in the scope of TalentCorp impact study, where we try to measure the impact of AI, so what we put the measurement is on 3 to 5 years. We didn't put in 10 years. So that's the limitation that we have. Maybe we can improve. So what we found is that from all these industries we engage, we also try to project what are the emerging roles that will come in next 3 to 5 years because of the market needs and the market dynamics that will come.
So constant review will be necessary.
Yes, constant review will be necessary. And plus we also have the MyMahir NICHI. NICHI means the National AI Council Adoption, AI Adoption Council for Industries. So we are also doing like pilots, planning to do pilots with industries on AI adoption. We will gauge their level of AI organizational readiness, and then after going through pilots through talent AI sandboxes or AI training, then we will measure like right after that what is the results that would yield from this AI training to prepare and future-proof them for the wave of AI.
Right. Now, how do you think Budget 2026, let's talk about that, that's coming on Friday, should address the structural issues such as the skills gaps that we just mentioned, wage stagnation, which is a real problem, and industry demand that contribute to youth unemployment?
Okay, so how we address this? The way I will frame this issue, and also I will put TalentCorp in it, is TalentCorp is as an enabler to build this ecosystem where wages are more progressive. Okay, so we already know that we already have the progressive wage policy, that's in place, and it's focusing on certain sectors like manufacturing. And we also have the new industrial master plan, where we are trying to reach 4,510 million salary. So TalentCorp's already already engaged with several sectors that's related to manufacturing, for example, pharmaceutical manufacturing, food manufacturing. And what we found is that if we were to match with the right training programs for the general public, there is a chance, a probability for them to increase their wages because you fulfill the industrial demand. And I can give you one success story. Pravin, for example, he's a diploma holder. He couldn't further pursue his education in degrees, so he embarked himself in MyMahir. So I want to ask you, an MNC pulled him in, and what do you think his first salary was?
I can't imagine. I'm assuming that it might be about 4 to 5. You say it was a success story?
Yeah, 5,000, 5,100 ringgit.
There
Yeah,
you go.
so it's some sort of the MyMahir, this labor market intelligence hub is complementary to the structural issue. Yeah, so that's
so there
how
are opportunities out there for you to be able to upskill so that you're able to improve your skill set to not just be in sort of like the entry level, but maybe skilled up the next. And I think we'll cover that later as well. But Malaysia has set ambitious targets under the Madani Economy Framework and the 12 Malaysia Plan as well to create high-skilled jobs. That's what we're talking about right now, right? Because we don't want to just talk about the entry-level jobs. Are we on track? And how does TalentCorp see its role in making sure graduates are not left behind?
Okay, like I mentioned, we're already engaged with these industries. We already set up councils. And what's important based on this 12 Malaysia Plan, we want to go to like higher value-added activities where it's not just about assembling the products, but it's also actually creating innovation. So I would say it's to invest more in R&D. I think last time it was about 32 billion ringgit from MIDA, if not mistaken. Yeah, so how TalentCorp can merge into this is to help out in terms of the data hub that we have, right? And moving forward for this, is to ensure that we put on a collaborative approach to this, and how Budget 2026 can come in is to scale this and make sure and use this as a model towards a whole of nation approach.
And we need to be able to track the achievements, whether or not we're hitting those milestones in order for us to be able to ensure that we can shift along the way if adjustments are necessary. Now, some economists argue that our labour market still leans too heavily, as we talked about earlier, low-cost, low-skilled models. What incentives or reforms in Budget 2026 do you foresee could help accelerate the shift towards a higher value, skills-driven economy that benefits the youth, but not just the youth, everyone as a whole?
Yes, so how I would say is that I think I just mentioned that R&D, the R&D is very important because I think we must, and we already have investments from other huge tech firms like Texas Instruments, NVIDIA who are investing in here, even Google invested like billions. So this is the time where we need to leverage on this, take opportunity to scale up our R&D, and so that it will go for more job creation, and with more job creation, with more emerging roles, then we can scale up our training programs so that this would all go in line with everything. So everything will be in harmony. So we built an ecosystem that emphasize on skills-first approach, so that you can go and in tandem, wage progression can also be achieved.
The first word that comes to mind when you were sharing with me whatever that you were sharing earlier was that passion. I think what's required is that we must love this this idea of that growth, that AI, in order for us to be able to like embrace it fully and actually evolve with it. Now, there's often talk about a mismatch between university education and industry needs, and we addressed that slightly earlier. But what practical steps can Budget 2026 introduce to strengthen this university-industry linkages, especially in high-demand sectors, be it digital, green economy, advanced manufacturing? What do you think?
Okay, so I think what I can say about universities particularly, it's a very program-based, syllabus-based sort of ecosystem. So in TalentCorp, we believe that it should be more, I would say that we take approach that is more sectorial, right? So that's where we engage with industries to ensure that we can tackle the skill mismatch between universities and industries. So how we will approach this is to make it more integrated of the work-based learning in universities. So I think there's already existing programs actually, like the 2U2I program, where 2 years of in university and 2 years of being in the industry, placed there and work. Okay, so in a way, there's an intertwine of theory and also practical application. So I think with this sort of programs, alongside with TVET, that's where industries are really looking forward to. We can merge this and make it in harmony. Yeah, so that's how I would suggest for Budget 2026 to look into this, to study this properly and ensure that it is allocated the investment strategically into these initiatives.
And the private sector, whether it's the universities or the public universities, need to adapt fast enough to the environment, because I think there's a little bit of a disconnect there with regards to what's available and what the industry needs. Now, employers sometimes cite a lack of soft skills, adaptability, which is something that we were speaking of earlier, and communication among fresh graduates. Now, should Budget 2026 now allocate more resources towards those employability programs like those, or apprenticeships to address this gap?
Okay,
not just skills-based, but the soft skills.
The soft skills, yes. So I think it's very important to see soft skills as something that's as important as technical skills, or at least if it's not more than it. And for you to actually equip yourself with technical skills, you will actually need those soft skills, because those are the basic skills like problem solving, adaptability, and communication. And from what I think is that maybe we can invest a bit on it, but not to the point where it becomes like a whole ecosystem of just teaching them on how to communicate adaptability. Because sometimes if you go through the training programs, like the technical skills that are being taught, it comes with it as well. So
it needs to be integrated into that whole syllabus, not just as a sort of like, I think traditionally it's always a top-down approach. I give you the information, you just take it all in, you absorb. But there's not a lot of sort of like interconnectivity for you to be able to share back what you've learned, in order for you to be able to understand that whether or not that has been fully absorbed, and how they're able to then communicate those information back.
I see.
Now, with the rise, TalentCorp has initiatives like the Returning Expert Program and industry academia collaborations. Now, what new or expanded measures would you like to see in Budget 2026 to enhance these efforts for youth employability, if any?
Okay, I think maybe I can touch on industry academic collaboration, because this is more on skill mismatch, right? Okay, so what I would like to see from Budget 2026, well, basically to invest more on global firms, for example, to be more in tune with the industries here in Malaysia, because from there will be more technology transfers. Okay, so and from there we can also involve academia into that ecosystem, into that collaborative approach, so that academia will also be updated with the technology updates that comes into our country, so that our students will be ready before they graduate, so that they won't feel that, especially social science students, I would say, that they won't feel that they're left behind, they're lagging behind this wave. So the wave of AI, and also the technical in-demand skills that comes with it. So I think that's how Budget 2026 should address it.
And I, from what I'm hearing you saying, is that there needs to be a lot of dialogue, because that seems to be what would keep that sort of ecosystem a continuous loop that allows for them to be able to feed back and create the supply and demand. Not just, I think this is what you want, and then, not just guesswork, but real collaborative communication, which is what we talk about soft skills. It needs to happen within the industry as well, in order for us to be able to continue to supply that growth that is required from there. Now, with the rise of AI and automation, some traditional entry-level jobs would definitely disappear along with that. What kind of forward-looking policies should Budget 2026 introduce to ensure young Malaysians are trained for the jobs of the future?
Okay, so first of all, what I would say, when we say about jobs being replaced, and I think people actually need to know a bit like what are the sort of jobs. It's usually the repetitive sort of like customer service, clerical work, and so on. So how should we move forward from this to ensure that we future-proof, we make it a future-ready workforce for the rakyat lah, right? So what I would say is that for Budget 2026 is to invest more on like the collaborative approaches, like let's say TalentCorp, with also other institutions that are also related to skills development. Yes, like maybe for example like MARA, maybe with JPK. So these are the institutions that are very primary stakeholders, and also alongside private sectors who are in sectors I would say not critical, but has most of the job roles that will be highly impacted by AI. Okay, so we must have this strong collaborative approach so that we can come up with a labor market intelligence that is more comprehensive for the rakyat, for them to be prepared.
Now, I want to touch about this. This is an important question. SMEs are Malaysia's biggest employers, but often lack the resources for structured graduate hiring or training. And with a lot of them, it's not as if they don't want to be in AI, but they may not have all those capabilities or resources available to jump straight into it. How can Budget 2026 incentivize SMEs to provide more meaningful pathways for fresh graduates?
Okay, so what I would say is that mostly like matching grants, tax incentives would help. And also TalentCorp as an enabler, we actually are doing, under our unit MyMahir sector development team, we are having this program called Industry Connect, and we're going from state to state where we engage, conduct programs with SMEs all over the country. Yeah, so I think recently we just did at Melaka, and next month we'll be doing at Sabah, Kota Kinabalu. I think it was around 7 October. Yeah, so these are the sort of programs where we can actually gather more data, because we must understand TalentCorp is a very data-driven, I would say, government agency. Yeah, so we need to gather more data to understand what are actually the challenges that they are facing. And plus, through this Industry Connect, we are also putting in a time slot to teach them on how to use AI effectively. I mean, the AI module that I told you about, the Jelajah and MyMahir.
Yeah. So that's something that's already in place. It's ongoing, as you mentioned, that is going to be going on for the next 6 months, and we're hoping that it will open those doors for those that have been involved to be able to at least expand their horizons. Now, recent figures show that skills-related underemployment, not just unemployment, underemployment among graduates in Malaysia was about 32.4% in 2023. Now that was about 2 years ago, which was about 1.54 million people. And it remained high, around 35.7 in Q1 of this year still. Now, given these numbers, which show that many graduates are still in roles that don't match their qualifications, how should Budget 2026 then balance supporting, for example, gig work and flexible employment with ensuring stable, quality career opportunities for young Malaysians?
Okay, great. So when it comes to like gig workers particularly, so basically we just had an act that's been gazetted, right, on the gig workers bill. So TalentCorp is actually looking into it for the gig economy sector particularly, and we are still on our way, because like I said, it was just been gazetted. And in regards to this underemployment issue, I think I already framed the problem already, and what are the initiatives for TalentCorp to be an enabler. I think what really needs to be done right now is to scale this up, really. That's all that needs to be done. And I think maybe in 3 to 5 years, coming 3 to 5 years, that number can actually be reduced if it's done properly, strategically, with proper plan. Yeah.
Now, what role do you think international exposure and mobility programs can play in preparing graduates for a globalized economy? Because we're no longer siloed, we are global, and should Budget 2026 strengthen funding in this area?
Yes, definitely. And I think here's the thing, in TalentCorp, we believe that through internship as well would be a very great avenue for, sort of way to soft land into the industry, because not everyone has the social capital for it. Okay, so in that way, how can Budget 2026 help in this? Is to scale this up in terms of maybe cross-border internships with other countries, build MOUs, agreements with significant firms that is up to date with all the in-demand skills that is needed for our Malaysian local talents, and make and massify this to other to youth particularly who are maybe undeserved through this initiative. Yeah, so I think that's how Budget 2026 could help out in this particular issue.
Now, let's talk a little bit more on a personal level. I know we've talking from the lens of TalentCorp so far. Yourself, you're a youth yourself. What are you looking forward to, or what are some of the challenges, and what are some of your hopes for moving forward? Perhaps you can share some of your personal views.
Okay, so for like my personal view actually is to see that as a result from Budget 2026 is to put on policies that can actually really scale up I think increase our wages progressively. Okay, yes, there is the progressive wage policies that's targeting in a few sectors, but I'm hoping to see that it will also target in several other sectors as well. And also make sure that to also see students maybe that are, not students, fresh graduates from other sectors as well. That's how my personal view, I would see. And to really work this out with the private sector, ensure that that this wage thing, because it's all about incentives, right? 200 for entry levels, 300 for managerial level, but we want to make. I just want that the Budget 2026 can address this to make sure that it becomes a long-term effort rather than the get-go. Yeah.
Now, I know you touched a little bit about that. Let's, in my last question to you, we often hear young Malaysians feel excluded from the policy conversation. I think that's what you mentioned as well. Should Budget 2026 create more platforms for youth in consultation, particularly on employment policies? Maybe your short summary on that.
Well, I would say is that this youth council, we already have youth councils a lot in Malaysia, but maybe from Budget 2026 to establish youth councils focusing on young professionals, because there's a generational gap, right? So maybe from a youth council point of view, it will be very different, and their insights will be more, I would say, maybe effective, more. There's more fruits to it, or maybe that's where it's more maybe innovative, the ideas. So a youth council, a leadership that involves a lot of leaderships, maybe from youth organizations, or maybe from even youth professionals, maybe even from like MNCs, even not just focusing on the managerial level.
And I think that's what we need. We need to be able to consolidate the feedback, listen, and also create action plans that work. Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts. Now, youth employment isn't just a policy concern. It's about building confidence, opportunities, and a future for the next generation. Now, with insights from our guests today, we see how Budget 2026 could shape not only policy, but the prospects of an entire generation. I'm Elaine Abdullah. Thanks for watching, and follow us for more in-depth conversations on topics that matter. Bye for now.